Just making sure. The Cinnamon Speaks magazine. Get your quality, get healthy food recipes, get automotive advice, get accounting tips, get up-to-date current events. The Cinnamon Speaks magazine, the official magazine of the new nation of Israel. Pick up your copy at Shell Gas Station, 15110 West 7 Mile Road, SOS Graphics, located in the Northwest Activity Center, 18100 Mile Road, Chester, 17600 West 8 Mile Road. To get a subscription, 601-786-9788. The Cinnamon Speaks magazine. Get your copy today. We would like to invite you to help support the efforts of the Unity and Rebuilding Fund. Visit the website at www.unityandrebuildingfund.com. That's www.unityandrebuildingfund.com. We often hear how we need work to rebuild the system, and we're actually doing it. You can make online donations and click on links to track the progress of the Unity and Rebuilding Fund. And for more information, 313-868-0000, your local number. Again, 313-868-0000. Support the Unity and Rebuilding Fund.
SOS Graphic Design provides agency-quality professional graphic design services from established companies to startups and individuals, creating a simple logo to complete rebranding and delivering visual communication and print media. Everything SOS Graphic Design does has a single unifying objective: set your business apart. We are at your service. Call 313-342-2166. That's 313-342-2166 or online at www.sosgraphicdesigns.com.
Hey, we would like to invite you to help support the efforts of the Unity and Rebuilding Fund. Visit the website at www.unityandrebuildingfund.com. That's www.unityandrebuildingfund.com. We often hear how we need to work together to rebuild the system, and we're actually doing it. You can make online donations and click on links to track the progress of the Unity and Rebuilding Fund. And for more information, 313-868-0000, your local number. Again, 313-868-0000. Support the Unity and Rebuilding.
SOS Graphic Design provides agency-quality professional graphic design services from established companies to startups and individuals, creating a simple logo to complete rebranding and delivering visual communication and print media. Everything SOS Graphic Design does has a single unifying objective: to set your business apart. We are at your service. Call 313-342-2166. That's 313-342-2166 or online at www.sosgraphicdesigns.com. Hey, sisters, are you looking for quality hair braiders and stylists who specialize in natural hair? Then check out Sisters Breakthrough, located at 17600 West 8 Mile Road in Southfield. We specialize in children's braids, pinky twists, Havana twists, box braids, individual, Molly twists, crochet braids, and more. And best of all, we cater to you, providing all of your hair care needs. For additional information or to schedule your appointment, call 248-552-6202 or visit us on the web.
You're watching W33BY, Detroit, Highland Park, Michigan. FM 88.1 WHCR, Highland Park, WVIE 107.3 FM Charlotte, Amalia, Virgin Islands. The views and opinions expressed in the following show are not necessarily the views and opinions of W33BY, its affiliates, management, or sponsors. Brothers and sisters, are you tired of reading the Holy Scripture?
The recording has started. This conference is being recorded.
Sure. Have you ever tested that what you feel, you know, with someone may have a different view in their own? So let's talk to one another. Let's reason with one another. On a Scriptural Discussion with the Son of Man. A live broadcast every Sunday at 12 noon on TV 33, FM 88.1 WHCR, and Comcast Cable. So why don't you call and let's discuss the Holy Bible, and if you have one, the Holy Quran, and come to an agreement about the Holy Scriptures and the truth. So tune in to a Scriptural Discussion with the Son of Man every Sunday at 12 noon, right here on TV 33, FM 88.1 WHCR, and Comcast Cable. You can call in live on the air at area code 313-868-4336, 868-0342, and 868-0351. Of course, the area code is 313. That's 313-868-4336, 868-0342, and 868-0351. And now let's go live with the Scriptural Discussion with the Son of Man.
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, the Truthful, and the Most Just, I greet all of you once again who have the sincere hunger and thirst for Allah's understanding of His instruction in righteousness. I greet you all with the greeting words of peace. May Allah's Salam Alaikum. I want to say to those who are in charge of Homeland Security and who monitor these conference rooms. If Allah didn't want you to hear me, He would not have put it in your mind to set up these rooms. He told me to give all of you warning. It's written that the Son of Man is the one that was told to warn Israel, to warn the world that Jacob made. Now, I have watched you in the Secret Service, you in the CIA and FBI, the investigatory arm of the federal government is the FBI. Have you found anything with me that is disrespectful to you or your government? No, you have not. As far as the CIA go, those undercover people who always try to undermine governments that they don't agree with, and Homeland Security. From now on, when people come in here into my religious services and go to cursing and disrespecting my presence, I'm going to let them do it, but I'm going to hold you responsible. If you can stop them from disrespecting your president, you can stop them from disrespecting the Lord Himself, which is me. Now, you think it's funny? Do you think Texas is funny? Do you think you notice the tracks that these hurricanes, you're going to see it pretty soon. That's the same tracks that slavery made. I have the authority to forgive all of your wrongs. and I also have the authority to chastise you for them. Allah just showed you an example when I didn't say it was going to do it. I said it could do it. And it did it. That hurricane that you call Harvey, I told you that it was slowing down, and I told you it was visiting a while. It's still visiting. See they not that we are visiting the land? Why do we say we are visiting the land? It's because what you see in the wind and the rain, you are actually, that's what man, that's the bulk of the composition of man, is water. We are visiting the land. Now, you wanna continue to disrespect your father and your mother? Now, understand something. The black man is the father of all human beings. And I told you I'm sick and tired of you disrespecting me. And I don't have to take it anymore. And I'm not going to take it anymore. Now, if you think that that's a joke, or you think I'm just saying this, then mouth off now. Come on in here and tell me what I ain't, and tell me what you're going to do to me. I will fix every one of you. And I'm not hiding and saying this. This, my earth. And I can get you off of it too. The witnesses that Allah sent, they're the ones that had to wake me up to who I am. Because I was dead. It's written, I am he that liveth and was dead. And now look at me. Behold, I'm becoming more and more knowledgeable. I'm alive forever, just more and more and more. Come before his presence with singing. You don't know me, but I'm your brother. And I was raised here in this living hell. And you don't know my kind. You don't understand my kind in your world. You didn't understand Jesus. You didn't understand Moses. You didn't understand David and Solomon. You didn't understand none of the scriptures. All of you are scripturally illiterate. You don't know my kind or understand my kind in your world. Fairly soon, the time will tell. You keep telling me the things, not only what you was going to do for me, but to me. Man left a note telling me he got a surprise for me, and he going to do something to me. You don't know how much you messed up there, boy. The scripture didn't tell you to threaten the Lord. The scripture told you to sanctify the Lord of hosts himself. And let him be your fear. Why did they put it like that? Because you've been frightening the so-called Negro. You've been frightening the slave all of his life. And so you got your people mixed up, boy. I'm the slave's Lord, and I'm your Lord too. I'm the Lord of the living and the dead. I judge both the quick and the dead. So, since you had a surprise, you know what a surprise is? It's a shock. Is that right? Yes. Did you just see this? And you remember I told you them other hurricanes and stuff were just spot arounds. Yes, sir. And I explained to you about the 106 recoilless rifle. It fires a 50 caliber round, and it's a tracer round. And wherever you see that go, that's where them big ones coming. That's where that big round coming to get you. Huh? Only reason that Mississippi ain't been included in this is because I'm sitting here. As the messenger said once, he said, you got a very valuable piece of property in your midst. It's up to you to try to keep it there. But the only goodness and mercy that's with you is that which is with me. When I go, goodness and mercy shall follow me. Now, like I said, you know, you can take and take and take and take and take off of people until one day it's just it's full. It's kind of like that song Kenny Rogers made. He said, but 20 years was bottled up, 20 years of keeping it in was bottled up inside of it. The last straw was when they messed over his lady. They looked when he turned his back and went to the door. They thought he was leaving. They said, look, old Yellow's running. You know, he was locking the door. Because he wasn't going to let nobody else out. Wasn't nobody getting out of there this day. And when by the time it was over, he was the last one standing. I told you you was going to miss President Obama. Yes. You had a man in there that cared something about you. You had two men in there that cared something about you. I'm talking to America. They cared about all of the American people, including the ones who hated them. Because they took their job seriously. And they were patriotic to their country. And then you have all these people walking around here calling themselves Confederates and flying a flag that if that flag and what it represented had its way, the United States of America would not even exist today. Because that's what they were. They wanted to form a confederacy of states, each one sovereign to itself. They were pulling out, and that's why they called the soldiers who was fighting against the Confederate, the Union soldiers. You don't even know what your own history is with your crazy self. To show you that you have, I'm talking to all you rednecks and all you sycophant Negroes who follow these crazy people. You don't even realize that if you was in a country that was guided by someone like Hitler, or even like you wouldn't have been able to put on no march or no demonstrating that disagreed with them rulers. They'd have put your behind in jail and did what Trump said that used to would have happened. They'd have to carry you out of there. And this is the man that's president of the United States that thinks that when people disagree with you, when they voice their disagreement, if it ain't with you, you should beat them up. Well, I don't agree with you. And ain't nothing stopping you from coming beating me up. Nothing that you can see. So I'm going to tell you something. Every one of you that hate me, I gave you the chance to tell the people what I did to you. What have I done to you? How many times have I asked that question? What evil have I done to you? All I done did all my life was cared about people who did not care nothing about me. Going around people, I'm thinking that these my friends. Have a disagreement with them, and one of them couldn't fight me. Two of them got to jump on me. And I still fought them. But the point is, it's like even when people was coming after me, I had 5 brothers older than me. Never once did I come home and tell my big brothers that somebody was going to try to jump on me. Because I didn't want nothing to happen to now one of them. So Allah, he said, now you go here and I'm going to go with you. Because I know you ain't going to call on nobody else, so I'll go with you. So I'm now, I'm just fed up. That's all. I'm just tired. Iron wear out. I'm human like you. I'm a mortal like you. Regardless of what Allah say I'm going to be, right now, I am a mortal like you. Don't you get tired? Don't you have feelings? Well, okay. Well, then why are you surprised that I have? And so the scripture already told you that I would be angry and yet still trying to help people. For all this, his anger is not turned away. But what? His hand is stretched out still. So if you want to let people come in here and disrespect my religious services and disrespect me while you know who I am, it ain't no doubt in your mind that I'm the Lord. You think the devil don't know God? Yeah, you know. And if you don't know, they better take you off of them. They better take you off them phones. So I'm sick of you. I'm sick of you sitting back laughing and making a joke out of all of the 400 years of suffering and affliction that you put on us. Then when we start talking about it, you used to be coming up to my, he playing the race card. You better not never let me hear that fly out your mouth no more. I ain't never heard nobody say that the Jewish people was playing the Holocaust card. Never. You didn't insult them like that. And you know it would be a lasting insult for you to put a statue of Hitler and a Nazi flag up in a Jewish community. You know it's insulting. But you do it to us because you knew my people was dead. Well, I'm giving them life now. Every one of them that's under me, I'm giving life. And even the ones who ain't under me, not going to have an excuse and say they did not understand. So I want to let you see a little of the news, because I have to make sure you understand that this ain't finna get better. This is the great and dreadful day. And I'm not going to change anything that's written. Not going to change it. Not going to even attempt to change it. I'm going to do it. I come to do thy will, oh God. I delight to do thy will. What you think they call these testaments for? You talking about the New Testament, the Old Testament? Do you know what that means? Every messenger that brought a word that's in these books, that was his will and his testament. I come to do the will of God. As the book says, that, and he hath given him authority also to execute the judgment, because he is the Son of Man. This ain't no joke. Wherever you have a will, that will don't even go into effect until after the death of the one who made it, the testator. A will is by nature prophecy. A will could be made out hereafter, such and so and such and so and such and so and so. What did Jesus say? Hereafter shall you see heaven open and the angels of God ascending and descending upon the Son of Man. Hereafter. Hereafter what? After the prophets are dead and gone. And like all wills, they are locked up. Can't nobody get to them until it's time. And then once it's time, they appoint. Matter of fact, in the will, they take, you remember, most of the time, the very lawyer who was retained to draw up the will is the executor. The testator, he tells the lawyer, look, this is what I want done. After, and the lawyer said, well, you need to put that in writing, because that I need that so that they can't say that I'm going against your orders and whatnot. And so the one who made it, they always the people, while they were alive, everybody knew that their lawyer was Mr. So-and-so. That's why in the volume of the book I come, all of the prophets knew that the Son of Man was their Lord. And so they told you about the coming of the Son of Man. And what did God say? I'm going to keep this between me and you, Abraham, and your seed. And just like that will, that's kept, the content of it is kept between the testator and the lawyer that he have. Nobody else know about it. Now, it's time that everybody know what was in it. It's just like, have you ever seen tornadoes and hurricanes and doing the things that you see them doing now?
No.
I didn't hear.
No.
Are you aware that's in the book? Just a moment. Let's see. Now, I want to make sure that I'm good gracious. This thing don't want to cooperate. Let's see. Let's try that. All right. Now, now this is in Ecclesiastes. I think it's Ecclesiastes. I'll tell you in a minute. Yes. I want to, what do y'all find in the scripture? That way I don't have to, where it says that which has been will be, and that which will be has been. Chapter 1, let's go to that first. In chapter 1, verse 9, it says, let's go to the 8th. It says, all things are full of labor. Man cannot utter it. The eye is not satisfied with seeing. You know what that means? No, you don't know. The eye don't never get tired of seeing. Do you ever wish you was blind?
No.
The eye never gets tired of seeing. You understand? Okay. Then the eye is never satisfied. When you're satisfied, you say that's enough, don't you? Okay. You ain't gonna never say that's enough when it comes to being able to see. And so he says, the eye is not satisfied with seeing, nor the ear filled with hearing. You know, the ear don't get tired of hearing, do it? And I don't care how much you hear, it don't never fill up, do it? That's because the mind, the brain, is so small. The brain is like the TARDIS in Doctor Who. It looks small on the outside, but it's much bigger on the inside. Is that right? Okay. Now, it says, the thing that hath been, it is that which shall be. And that which is done is that which shall be done. And there is no new thing under the sun. Now, whose words was these? Solomon, the wisest. He was called the wisest of them all, huh? But now look over here in just a moment. In the 21st chapter of Revelation, but remember, Jesus, when talking about Solomon, he made the statement that let me show you. He said in Matthew, the 12th chapter, that coffee show must be really something. Matthew, the 12th chapter, it says, let's start at the 41st verse. It says, the men of Nineveh shall rise in judgment with this generation and shall condemn it, because they repented at the preaching of Jonas, and behold, a greater than Jonas is here. The queen of the south shall rise up in the judgment with this generation and shall condemn it. For she came from the uttermost parts of the earth to hear the wisdom of Solomon. And behold, a greater than Solomon is here. Solomon said there ain't nothing new under the sun. Now look at that 5th verse. And you notice, how long have black people in America been crying? You know who invented the blues? We did. Why? Because when everybody else was having a party, we was crying. You shall weep and lament, and the world shall rejoice. Jesus said, nah? So the Solomon said in Ecclesiastes, the 1st chapter, that nothing new under the sun. You don't have to turn back to it. You just read it. I know you ain't forgot it that quick. But look what the one who ate up the book and speak what the words in the book said. It says, it's the 3rd verse. And I heard, this 21st chapter of Revelation, and I heard a great voice. You remember Jesus said, my Father is what? Greater than I am. It said, I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, behold, the tabernacle of God is with men. Up until the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, you hadn't heard no greater voice than his. That man stood up to the whole world, and the whole world in the end acknowledged that he was the messenger of God. I don't care what you're saying now. I know what you were saying when he was here. He offered you $10,000 and his life if you could prove just one word he was teaching to be a lie. And none of you came out. White, black, brown, yellow. freckle face. Nobody came out. And everywhere that he went, I remember once the messenger said, "You're going to hear it." He said, "If you go any place and tell them that I come from America and I follow Elijah Muhammad, they will respect you immediately." You had never seen no boxing champion get respect like you saw the man who declared himself the follower of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Muhammad Ali was respected and honored anywhere he went. And if it was all about just being the heavyweight champion, how come George Foreman and all the rest of them didn't get that kind of respect? Now, I know how to deal with all you people out there that try to take credit away from Allah and his messengers. I come to deal with you. The messenger told you I was going to deal with you. So it says, what did the messenger say? You don't have to sit around here and ask the question, what must be done? We have God with us. We have him as our guide. What you think Jesus meant when he said, when he, the Spirit of truth, is come, he will guide you into all truth? He had already told you God is a spirit. He said, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. Well, then when he said, when he, the Spirit of truth, is come, it's all because you didn't understand that what he meant was when he, the God of truth, is come. Now that I'm here, now you instead of being happy, you're upset. The very people who is the original man? You see, the reason that he told you that, let me give you the deeper understanding of that. I'm the original man. But who is that? The original man is the Asiatic black man, the maker, the owner, the cream of the planet Earth, God of the universe. You see what is this star and crescent? That red represents the sun. You see where the sun, moon, and star sitting? It's not on my head. It's on my shoulders. And the government shall be upon the government of what? The government of the universe. It's under me. You said it, and you didn't mean it though. One nation under who? I'm going to hold you to it too. Whether you wanted to be under me or not, you under me now. He that's from above. Didn't say they that's from above. He that's from above. Above, where's that? I'll tell you what. How many of you all can go into the scripture with me and teach me what the scripture is talking about? And what do you say when you try to read a book that you can't understand? Don't you say it's over your head? If it's over your head, it's above you, ain't it? Well, he that's from above is a what? Above all. And since the Holy Scriptures is above all y'all's head, and yet I can come to you right out of the book and explain to you what you've been wrestling with for all your life, then I must be from above. So, you wanna play your little game? You go on and play your little game. Keep thinking that you can do what you please on our planet. The day for you doing what you please on this earth is gone. You gonna do what pleases God, or you ain't gonna do nothing. Now, ain't nobody else can talk like this. I'm the only one can talk like this and it get backed up. So now, it says, what did the Honorable Elijah Muhammad say? He said, we have God with us. What did they say? I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, behold, the tabernacle of God is where? With men. Huh? Then it says, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people. The earth is the Lord's. Well, why does it say they shall be his people? Because the earth, as the messenger told me, he said, the earth belonged to you. He said it didn't belong to you. But now you the true owner. He said, Israel taking it away from you. He said, come on. I want to give it back to you. And so the prophets all said, now the earth is yours. The earth is the Lord's. And the fullness thereof, the world, and everybody in it. So, let's go on. He said, they shall be his people, and God himself shall be with them. And be where? Be their God. Now, God himself, the Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a shout. Know ye that the Lord, he is God. So when it said the Lord himself, it's saying God himself. Is that right? Then it says, and God shall wipe away all tears. You shall weep and lament, but the world shall rejoice, but your sorrow shall be turned to joy. Because I'm here to wipe away them tears. You notice, if those of you who have accepted me and been listening to me, you notice you don't feel afraid no more. You notice you don't feel forsaken no more. And you certainly don't feel like you in danger no more. Is that right? Because you with the Lord himself. Huh? So no more tears. Unless you crying the happy tears. Sometimes you be so happy that you ever looked at one of them movies? And that's why I like to look at TV by myself, because, I'm kind of emotional. And I'm still that way. I was looking at that history of that horse, Secretariat. And every time, and then they go and play that music, Old Happy Day. And I'm sitting there just wiping. Well, I'm telling you. But, to see any creature perfected, when I say creature perfect, not like looking at Muhammad Ali and Bruce Lee, to see a man be able to do things that other men just can't do, it will bring tears to your eyes. To be able to say, this is my family here doing this. This is my brother here doing this. This is something that Allah shows you his power. He put admiration in you, because that's where it comes from. When you admire something that the creation, when you admire a perfectly formed creature, or you admire anything that is in nature that's done, that is the essence of the Creator giving you the appreciation for the beauty he created. Do you understand? That's the kind of thing that make you say, oh, praise is due to Allah. I know that's what I say. You know, I see something doing, I know where the praise belongs. When you see anything that you know, you got people that praise a car and forget that there's a man that designed that car. It's a man that made that motor and made that car that fast. That car didn't get that way on its own. So, but anyway, it says, and God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes. Ain't gonna be no more crying for nobody. If the people of the United States would all repent tonight, we could freeze all that water back again, put it back up there. Shut them hurricanes and stuff off. I'm talking about right now, them that you see out there. We could shut that stuff off right now. If you would show us respect. But no, you're too wicked. That's why they coming. Because you're so wicked and ungrateful. So, it says, God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death. I ain't talking about that right now. Neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain. I told you the human body is perfect. You kill yourself. The wages of sin. There you go. Because I ain't going to worry about talking that to you because you think I'm crazy anyway. Then it says, see, while you calling me crazy, I'm believing in the word of God. You see? I'm not the one walking around here about to fall over. I'm not the ones was worried about health care. Because I'm in good health. But I was worried about other people. I didn't care about the tax money that I paid going to. You know, these people are so ignorantly stupid. If there's such a thing. But most stupid people don't know that they're stupid. So I use the term ignorantly stupid. Do you know most people, they think that they act like the only taxes that people pay is income tax. That's the least of the taxes that people pay. I mean, do you ever look at your receipts when you go buy something? Then they sit up and got the hell of a nerve. How when my tax money spent on these deadbeats? What you mean your tax money? Them people that you call deadbeats, they spend money. What do you suppose should be done with all of their money, since you don't think that taxes should be spent on what you call people who don't work? Well, then you shouldn't, whenever you find a man that ain't working, whenever you find one of them people that you say don't work, then you should make him tax exempt. Since you want to you don't want no taxes spent on him, then you shouldn't take no taxes from him. You low down dog. take tax money from babies. You send your baby to the market with a, you didn't think that's going to get you out of tax. You can sell them there with a grocery list all you want. When they get up there to that register, they ain't going to say, oh, we don't tax babies. And you said, well, I ain't got enough to get this. And well, you got to put something back, baby. Is that right? You got to go put it back. And then they laugh and say, you know, Uncle Sam got to have his. Right? And you ask one of these fools, okay, who's running around here spouting off about I don't want my tax money spent on no health care for these people. Ask him, how much tax money do America take up every year? Altogether. How much? The only reason they stand up and tell you about America is $20 trillion in debt, because they know that's a lot of money to you. Now, understand something. They got some people in America that they say $50 billion. He worth $50 billion. More than one. Well, you know, 50 times 20, if you got 20 billionaires that's worth $50 billion, that's $1 trillion that they worth. Just by themselves. Well, how much do you think their corporations and stuff is generating? And how much of that is going, you know, their employees is paying taxes out of that it's generating? Every week. They ain't told you yet how much taxes that they take from the American people. Every day, 365 days. Not just your income tax. What is it? What's the tax on gasoline? 10 cents a gallon? What is it now? If you get 20 gallons of gas, that's $2. How many $2 a day is they getting off of just your gas? And then they sit up and tell you that America's broke. That's a lie. They stealing your money. And if I ain't telling the truth, there's their way. There's their way to get rid of me. How come they ain't speaking up? Come in here and have that conversation with me. I mean, just Walmart. I mean, when you go to Walmart and don't see nobody in there shopping. When you go to Kmart and don't see no shoppers in there. When do you go to any mall and don't see people in there all day, every day, spending money? And if they're spending money, they're paying taxes. Now, where's all that money going? Sure ain't going back for the American people, which is what Congress was given the right to tax for the benefit of America. America is not the continent. America is the people in this continent. Then why is it such a hard thing to make sure that the tax money that the American people give, some of it go for their health care? It's because he's the devil. Ain't nothing you can, the devil ain't got no justice in him. He wouldn't be the devil if he had justice in him. what he wouldn't want done to himself. So he changed the saying, do unto others before they do to you. Oh, he don't want nobody low down like him. But he had to say something to try to counter that statement about do unto others as you would like others to do to you. So Solomon said, ain't nothing new. He says, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away. And he that sat upon the throne said, behold, I make all things new. When you make something, you start with something. I told you you was going to start seeing bigger hurricanes, bigger tornadoes. You're going to start seeing a lot of that. And you see it now, don't you? Well, that's not rocket science I'm talking. I knew that because what you are walking around in, you've been walking around in water vapor all your life. That's why your skin gets a little thin coat of oil on it. That's to protect you from the corrosiveness of the water vapor that you're walking around in. It's like a fish. You notice you take him out the water and he's so slimy. That's oil on him. He swim around in water and never get wet. So because water is corrosive. So that and since we in thin water vapor, then our skin produces a little bit of oil. We have what you call sebaceous glands, and they excrete oil. Just like the white man, he run around here acting like he's so smart to find oil. He just done found the sebaceous glands in the earth. And then it's a shortage. He's a lie. But you know, he tell people anything because he know people they don't think. But anyway, let's get back to the this book here. Now, when we started melting the ice, you know, they was telling you about the big chunks breaking off. Biggest the state of Texas. And not just one piece. Then they told you about Greenland, and they done seen land up under Greenland that they ain't never seen before because the ice was covering it. Well, all that's water that's being brought back. We had to do something with all that water after we put the moon out there and created that big flood. So we froze it and put it up there and kept it for fools like some of these people that I'm talking to. You see? And they say, well, you know, God said he ain't going to do it. It ain't going to be, next time it's going to be fire. Yeah, the fire of wickedness is burning you up now. So this is what's happening. There's more water in the atmosphere now. The atmosphere is thicker. You notice how humid it is now? That's why when you go out there in the heat now, it feels so different. You can't hardly stand it that long. You got to go somewhere and sit down. You'll be singing that song, take my breath away. Yeah. But over time, our bodies will adjust to it. And once we get through with this judgment, we'll thin it back out, you know, if necessary. But the whole earth is being changed. And so, you know, when you make something different, you know, just like hurricanes and tornadoes are made. Now, you notice I make all things what? New. I told you was going to see tornadoes and hurricanes. Instead of moving quickly through your community, they're going to be sashaying through there like they're walking. Do you see it? What, you think it's a joke still? No, it's not a joke. It's the judgment. You know, you let me show you. You know, I can show you better than I can tell you. Let's see here. The messenger said this. He said, you will be able to watch the judgment on television. Now think over that. They showing you real time. Not somebody going over there getting the news and bringing it back to you. But you seeing everything real time now. Huh? What if Japan now had to listen to me when I told them get rid of them nuclear plants? I told the whole world, I told them get rid of them things. You ain't got no safe way to dispose of that nuclear waste. Why would you want to bury something like that in the earth? Get rid of it. Stop it. You're going to make it necessary for Allah to actually create a lake of fire under you. And just let it sit there and cook and cook and cook and cook and cook until it ain't harmful no more. You bringing this on yourself. And all of you all, my people, who think that the white man knows everything and you choosing to side with him against me, you're going to regret that decision. And when you do come back, I'm going to tell you, you go on back over there where you mean. I ain't forgot how you treated me. I ain't forgot how you disrespected me. And you ain't coming to me because you repenting. You coming to me because now you got something on your behind. That's like a man when the police get him, then he said, oh, I wasn't going to rob that bank, and he got the money already. I think I'll give it back. No, it's too late to give it back. We're going to take it from you, and we're going to punish you for what you did. The time to have repented was before there was any police, before there was any silent alarm went off and all that. When you decided to go through with it, that's when you stepped over the line. Do you understand? Okay. So, now listen to this and watch this.
Helping Texas overcome this disaster is going to be far greater than being coordinating the mission of the entire federal government. We need citizens to be involved. Texas said this is a landmark event. We have not seen an event like this. You could not draw this forecast up. You could not dream this forecast up. It's been a very challenging effort for the National Weather Service, who's been putting out great information. We've been telling people that this is coming. It's still.
Even though you couldn't have drawn this up, you couldn't have done that. Why? I make all things new. Do you know what all things mean? Mean just that. You're going to start seeing catastrophes and things like you ain't never seen before. And soon, things are going to be so horrendous that if you got a weak heart, it's going to be the end of you. Men's hearts failing them for fear of those things that they see coming up on the earth. You know that's written, right? Do I need to show it to you? Huh? You talking about no. If I ask you, do you know that's written? I want to make sure you do know it's written. So let's get it up. Luke 21. and 26. It says, let's go to the 25th verse. It says, and there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars. You remember I told you what the sign of the eclipse was? Yeah. You notice when you saw that picture of that white man talking about he Jesus, you always saw behind him, his head looked like he was in front of the sun. Then, yeah, because he been eclipsing the prophets. Do you understand? And making it there, he been teaching you misunderstanding of the scriptures, eclipsing the sun, making it dark. Do you understand? Okay. There shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars and upon the earth, distress of nations. What do you see now? Distress of nations. And it says with perplexity. You know what perplexity means? It means they got having trouble and don't have the slightest clue to how to put an end to it. When a problem is perplexing, it means you are at your wit's end of what to do about it. Then it says the sea and the waves roaring, men's hearts failing them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken. Yeah. All of these people. Here you got a president standing up instead of talking about the flood. He there talking about his dog. You know, I mean, these people done lost it. You know why he can't console the American people? Because he has no compassion in him. When did you ever hear him speak compassionately to anyone? I told you. It's like people think. Let me tell you something. When I tell you about human beings and what makes us tick, I'm speaking from experience. I'm a human being. You may fool somebody else about a human being, but you shouldn't be able to fool a human being about a human being. Because we all are basically alike in, when we are angry, when we are happy, when we have hatred, when we have love. All hate and love are like fire and ice. Ice is extreme cold. Fire is extreme heat. We walking around in fire. We don't realize, but we walk around in fire. Our bodies, if the atmosphere around us stayed at 98.6 degrees all the time, we'd be some uncomfortable people. Huh? So, it's a lot of things that we don't pay any attention to. Even though we've experienced it, we didn't learn anything from it. But Allah makes me remember what I experienced so I can learn and teach you. It's just like, you ever notice, you can be fussing at somebody. You can be mad at somebody. And you be so mad that you be fighting mad They say, and then somebody that you say you love say something to you. Say, get out of my face. You will say that to them. Why? They ain't did nothing. You might even tell them, look, don't talk to me right now. And if they keep trying, I said, I ain't gonna tell you no more. I said, don't talk to me right now. Then you start something with them. You know why? Because no two objects can occupy the exact same space at the exact same time. Once hatred and anger it takes up residence in you, then love is absent. Your motivating force from that point on is no longer going to be anything but the result of hatred. That's why Hitler was able to murder so many white people. He claimed he loved white people. But who did he murder? That man was terrorizing Europe. He claimed that he was the leader of the German people and had the German people in terror. Why? Because he didn't know the law. He ignored the laws of physics. If you choose to let, as you know, they say a lot of things. They just don't believe it or mean it. But in the movie Star Wars, Yoda told Luke, he said, and men told him too. He said, anger and hatred leads to the dark side. So don't entertain that. He said, the fear of loss leads to the dark side. You know, and he said, once you start down the dark side, forever will it dominate your destiny. You see? And that's the truth. You notice Hitler went down the dark path. Hate your brother. He that hateth his brother is a liar when he said that he loved God. That's in the book. Cain hated his brother, and he got the title devil. You of your father the devil? You're talking about Cain. He was a murderer from the beginning. Go to the Genesis. That's the beginning. And who was the murderer? Cain. And he abode not in the truth. Where's your brother? Abel. I know not. Am I my brother's keeper? He lied, didn't he? Yes. He abode not in the truth. If he thought he was right for killing Abel, why didn't he say, I had to kill him? Yes. Wasn't self-defense. Otherwise, he'd say he attacked me and I accidentally killed him. He lied and said he didn't know where Abel was. And then told on himself by saying, I know not. Am I my brother's keeper? What was that for? That wasn't the first time that the Lord had asked him, where's your brother? And he would say, I don't know. Last time I saw him, he was over soon. But this time, he had a strange answer. And the Lord picked up on it. I guess you know that the Lord was Adam, right? Yes. Okay. And he said, what have you done? The voice of your brother's blood crieth unto me from the earth. Well, he was a murderer from the beginning and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own. He called it a little white lie. You ain't never heard no people call a lie after they say a little white lie. Find little brown lie, little yellow lie, little black lie. You can't find it. It ain't in no dictionary. The only people who named a lie after themselves are you, white people. Because you the devil. The Native American, when he marveled over the fact that you speak with a forked tongue. You don't tell the truth. You got to get him on paper. And then he'll lie and say, did you get that in writing? Yes. And if you didn't get it in writing, you just blowed up duck. When I was a little boy, I had no idea that I was going to grow up to be what and who I am. I didn't even have no desire to be no preacher. Ain't no sense in me lying. That's the last thing that I wanted to be. But can the Lord deny himself? No, I cannot. The world might deny me, but I can't deny me. And now that I know who I am, I know how I'm supposed to conduct myself. You don't know how important it is to know who you are. If you don't know who you are, then you really don't know how you're supposed to conduct yourself. What if I'll show you an example. Especially the way it is with us now. If I didn't have all this gray hair, you wouldn't think I'm as old as I am. But now, what if I had dark hair like my sons? And then I got amnesia. He could tell me that he's my daddy. And since I would believe I'm his son, how would I act? That's what white people did to us. We didn't know we the father of everybody, so he told us we was cursed black and we were supposed to serve them. And then he showed us in the Bible. See, y'all supposed to serve me. And so we served him. Because we didn't know who we are. We gave them dominion and put ourselves to sleep. And we told him how long he would be able to rule. For 6,000 years. He said, for 6 days you can labor and do all your work. Matter of fact, 6 days shalt thou labor. Ordered him to do it. Ordered him to go and subdue the earth. That's why in that song, Sympathy for the Devil, when it's going off, he said, you're to blame. You're to blame. Yeah. The messenger told me that too. He said, don't blame them for what by nature you put in them. Blame yourself for putting it in. Well, I'm taking the blame now, and I'm willing to write it all off if he will repent. If he don't repent, Harvey was just the beginning. You're not going to recover from this. It has already begun moving you off the land that we gave you. Because you dishonor your father. And your very nature tells you that you had better respect me. That's why you feel funny when you get ready to say something crazy to me. You get shaky. Now remember, I ain't got no bunch of people standing up telling you how great I am. I don't need all that. You open up these scriptures and you follow me through these scriptures, and the ones that you've been worshiping, worship me. Jesus told you that it's written, thou shalt worship the Lord thy God, and him only shalt thou serve. That's why you couldn't do nothing with the prophets. You couldn't get none of the prophets to bow down to this world, but all of them bow down to me. Now you go and figure. If I'm lying, open up the Bible and show me one that don't agree with me. Open up the Holy Quran and show me that Prophet Muhammad don't agree with me. Now you hear what this man saying about this stuff that's hit Houston? Houston, we got a problem. Huh? He telling you. Yes.
Going, but you couldn't draw the situation up. The bottom line is that it's going to continue on. We need the whole community, not only the federal government forces, but this is a whole community effort from all levels of government, and it's going to require the citizens getting involved. So here's what I want you to know as a citizen if you're wanting to help. Right off the bat, we have a website, www.nvoad.org. That's nvoad.org. nvoad.org. If you are looking to help, start there.
And you said when you can't fathom that type of rainfall, right? What's interesting is...
Now, this is something I recorded on the 28th. I'm working my way up to today. Now, but I want you to see that this is not a joke. Now, you see, you know why? One of the reasons why ain't none of them nasty people talking crazy to me now. They heard me tell them that they could come in. They could go back out there. The night that it was coming in, I told them we could go back out and come back again. What did he do? They couldn't believe it. It's a whole lot of things that you can't believe that you're gonna believe. That's what Luke said. I can't believe. He said, and that's why you fail, because you can't believe it. The messenger told me I could will things. I believed it. And I can will things. You through murdering us. You through doing all of these crazy things that you've been doing. Jasper been catching. And you got it coming. Where's that sister that they murdered her in jail and said she committed suicide? What's her name?
Sarah Bland.
Miss Bland, Sandra Bland. Where was that at?
Hempstead, Texas.
Hempstead?
Yes, sir.
Ain't that down there in the Houston area? Dallas area? Well, get ready. You murdered our people, and you ain't never stopped. And those of you who claim that you for justice, why you don't get them people who murder my people and bring them to justice and tell them you're not going to do this no more? But you sent them right back out there in uniform again to do it again. I ain't forgot. I have not, excuse me, I have not forgotten. Murdered that poor woman and then said she committed suicide. I know what he meant. He was saying, you talking crazy to us, you're suicide. You brought it on yourself. You brought this hurricane on yourself too. What's wrong with the picture? All right. You know, I'm not finna beg nobody to hear me. I told you, if you won't hear me, you hear the forces of nature. I know what to do for you.
15 to 30 incidents was modeled and was in the forecast here, but it's hard to imagine that falling over the entire sprawling Houston metro area, much of southeast Texas, and that's exactly what happened. We're going to talk right now about how fast these floodwaters are flowing. So I just wanted to point out, and you can actually see it mostly just, watching moving over my feet. I am in, barely 6 inches of water right here, and there is a current as the water flows. It's actually coming down a little bit in the Buffalo Bayou right now, but it's moving so fast. And even this, I can feel it pull on me. And this is why we're urging folks to stay out of floodwaters. Do not drive, do not walk, stay out of them. We don't want to have any emergencies beyond the evacuations that are ongoing right now. So stay safe as we continue through this developing situation because the rain is still coming down. It's going to add more rain over the next 3 days as well. Let's talk about what else is happening in the tropics because yesterday, while all of this was developing in the Houston area, Dr. Navarro and Dr. Harris, we had tropical storm watches show up in South and North Carolina.
Yeah, we do. And so we have potential tropical cyclone number 10, and we've got watches and warnings, which have just been issued by the National Hurricane Center from about Kill Devil Hills, North Carolina, stretching down just to the north of Wilmington, and then watches into the yellow area here that includes Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, we definitely want to get these folks up to speed.
You'll notice they don't agree to stop calling them hurricanes now. They call them cyclones. You know why that is? It's because their people are terrorized. So by saying cyclone, it kind of softens it. They used to call the ones in the Pacific cyclones and call these hurricanes. Now they done changed it just to, make it not sound as ominous. And some of them still trying to figure out how I know all of these things. Yeah. You wouldn't know nothing that you know if it hadn't been for us. Is he who gave you sight? You think he's blind? We gave you dominion over the earth. And if we could give it to you, what make you think we can't take it back? Not only can we take it back, we've taken it back. Teach you to be arrogant in the face of your God. Know ye that the Lord, He is God. All of them told you that. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad told you that the black man is God. He knew I would explain it to you. What black man? The one that Allah said, I'm going to create. Since ain't none righteous, I'm going to create somebody righteous. And you can't say I ain't righteous. Because I asked you to point out what's wrong with me. And you know as much as I'm hated, if they could have found something, they'd have pointed it out. So, let's get back to some more of it. Now, that was 2 days ago. Now, let's go forward a little bit.
Johnson, unfortunately, this devastating event is far from over with more rain coming. It's falling now, and there's going to be more coming the next several days.
Yeah, we look to move inland to area of low pressure again, and maybe another landfall, but more heartbreak continuing to unfold across southeast Texas, places like Houston, Baytown, and Dickinson, and even as we get into Katy, where more than 12,000 people have been rescued during a catastrophic event. And unfortunately, as I mentioned, now we're getting into the midnight hour, and some of the places that have been heavily hit were places that have already seen some of the heaviest rainfall. So we do continue to watch now, not only for the heavy rain, but the flood threat continuing with flood warnings and flood emergencies. And it looks like we will have more rainfall as we head on through the early morning hours. So one of the places we saw that was heavily hit with rainfall Monday was the city of Dickinson, and that's where some of the mandatory evacuations have been underway. But right now, let's take a look at the map here, and we'll look at what's been happening. This is the rain that has already fallen since Friday. We've had almost 3 feet of rainfall in some spots, and that rainfall continuing to come down heavily now as we get into the early morning hours. The numbers just continue to rise now as some of that heaviest rain will continue to push on off toward the east and down toward the south and east. Like that, we're going to go to Mike Bettis after his report. Not quite sure. Yeah, we're going to take the forecast here now as we head through the next couple of days. Watching the rainfall now continue to push on in, and the heaviest.
So let me tell you something. You can hate me all you want, but that's going to cost you. Now, the thing is that you notice it says, I make all things new. Well, that also goes for the flood-prone areas that you're not used to seeing flooded. Common sense tell you that as the water table rises, the areas that were not prone to floods, many of them now are going to be prone to floods. Do you understand this? This ain't rocket science. This is common sense. Well, how could you hear them telling you that chunks of ice big as Texas and big as Rhode Island and big as Staten Island, Greenland's ice done melted and all this stuff? How could you hear that news and not realize that you was about to see a lot of flooding that you had never seen before? I make all things new. The earth now is listening to its Lord. And you just keep your eyes on it, and you will see that this is not something that I'm making up. This is real. I just told you how to stop it. Humble yourself. Repent. Straighten up. No, ain't no nigga tell you what to do, huh? See, that's your biggest mistake. You ain't got no better sense than to look at your daddy and call him a nigga. Even that silly woman that was in here the other day, what was her name? Jane Elliott. She had sense enough to know that black people is their mother and father. You don't call your daddy nigga. You know what nigga is? It's somebody so stingy that he can't stand to see his neighbor with health care. And that's nigga. N-I-G-G-A-R-D, nigga. If you don't believe it, look it up. I mean, you would think that, and you notice the sad part is, most of them that talk like that, they don't hardly pay no taxes no way. But the only thing he got to cling to make him feel like he's something, because a poor white man in America is a pitiful thing. Why is that? Because the only thing held him back was his lazy behind. All he had to do was put on a suit, clean himself up, and go there and tell his brother, look, I want to go in business, and I want to do this, and I want to do that. They didn't say, we ain't going to help this sort. They helped him. He's just lazy. But and he knows that his brother know he's lazy. But he look at a black man and he said, well, I'm better than that nigga. Why? Because I'm white. It'd be like you got to be pretty stupid. I'm just telling you, you got to be pretty stupid to think that the color of your skin mean that you something special. You're special, all right. What they had, special ed in school. That's what special ed. I remember the messenger. The messenger, he bust that bubble. If people would have just listened, the messenger had been bust that bubble about thinking that your skin made you. He did that. I remember when this sister asked the messenger. She saw this picture of Master Farad Muhammad in the foyer of the messenger's house. Now, who he look like? Okay. So she said, dear apostle, what the picture of the devil doing in the foyer here? And the messenger looked at her and smiled. And he said, that's our Savior. You remember WD tried to make mockery of that? Yes. He said he told his father, well, I could more see you, since the black man is God, I could more see you as God than this white man here. Say, are you contradicting your own teaching? The messenger didn't go back and forth with him. You know why? Because he's a disbeliever and an ungrateful child. The scriptures say a prophet is not without honor except in his own house and among his own kinsmen. You notice, didn't none of the biological sons of the messenger correct Wallace out of all them hateful things and lies that he come out there spreading about the messenger? Didn't none of them stand up and tell him, hey man, what's wrong with you? They went along with him, didn't they? Yes, sir. That's why I remember this sister named Francetta. She told me, she said the messenger stood up in front of the believers back in the 60s and told them, said, don't let my children lead you to hell. That's what he said. He saw it all. He saw them, the nation rejected me. He said, if he be a little black man, you're not going to accept him. You're not going to follow him. They said, yes, we will, dear Paul. He said, no, you're not. All of the prophets saw that I would come to my own nation of Islam and they was going to reject me. He came unto his own, and his own received him not. So, yes. I didn't hear you. I asked y'all to not do me like that. Didn't I? Why you always got to give me an answer before you know the answer? I figured it was close to Houston because I remember the news was talking about it. It was down in the Houston area. Now you about to get Dallas in trouble on a humbug. And that's, I'm going to say it again. Thank you for correcting me, because you could have compounded the problem. But from now on, if I ask you a question, if you don't know the answer, just say, I don't know. But I'll try to find out. I just wanted them to see that Allah saw you. He know what you did. Murdered that woman in jail. And then say she committed suicide. And the only crime that she had committed was she was black and dared to question a police officer's actions. What did he say he pulled over for? Because she didn't give a signal when she changed lane. He was behind her. She got nervous and was getting out of his way. So that was his excuse to pull over, because she didn't signal. I vaguely remember that that's what he said he pulled over for. Well, then why did he get out there clowning with her and telling her to get out the car and all that stuff? He tells her, now she in her car smoking. Yes, not that I'm for smoking, because if she hadn't had a cigarette, she'd probably went on her way. Told you to put the devil's vices down. But anyway, he tells her, I mean, you don't have to lean over in her car. If she's smoking, give her a ticket. And what do you mean put out her cigarette? Where's that in the law where you can't smoke while the officer's there? But anything, if you're black, nigga, do what I say, I'm going to tell you. You are some low-down people. And you in the day and time where we told you to stop that. Yeah, we made you the devil, but if you know we made you, then when we order you to stop, what are you supposed to do? And since you won't stop, then these tornadoes and all these hurricanes, just when that Harvey is still that tropical storm, which means this tornado is still inside of it, headed on land and still headed toward Memphis. Man, you just don't know. You bringing some terrible stuff down on yourself, just like Pharaoh was prophesied to do. He was so hard-hearted. See, what made his heart hard was an ex-slave was standing there talking to him, giving orders. And he just couldn't take that. Well, you better learn to take it. So let's play some more.
In and around the Houston metropolitan area Harvey has emerged back out over open water. That happened yesterday afternoon and evening, and once again, we're pulling in tropical moisture, and as we do, we've got flood warnings, and with those flood warnings, we've got Brazoria, Galveston, Harris, and even on into Liberty counties, too, seeing some of that heavy rain. Hardin, Jefferson, Orange County to 145. Luckily, the heaviest rain now is pushed away, but it is in this area here where we are seeing that 1 to 3 inch per hour rainfall rate, and it looks like we will continue to see that rain. Then again, as we get into southwestern now, Louisiana, this is where some of that heavy rain and flood warnings are also in effect around Lake Charles, Moss Bluff, and Sulphur at 2 a.m.
Now that was on the 29th. I'm just giving you little bits and pieces. That was on the 29th. Now this is today's.
Drive, and we start perhaps having more health concerns and more health risks, and people are still out of the water. So it's still a concern there. And let alone inside the water, we see some people with hip waders, that's fine. Other people just bare legs walking through these areas, and you have to remember that flood water can be very, very dirty and contaminated as well. So not to mention, there's a sign across the bridge that say, watch out for snakes and alligators.
Now, they should have told them people that up front. I told you you're gonna. The book says that let the time that is come. Let me read it to you. You're not.
Hello?
Just a moment. Yes. What is it?
Hi there. I was wondering, someone told me that you can answer any question about the Bible. I was wondering, can you interpret Matthew 9 chapter 21st, 22nd?
Well, I tell you what. When I get to the questions and answers, right now you're changing the subject. I'm on this other subject right now. So, but I will.
Thank you very much.
I'll answer that for you later. Matthew
okay, thank you so much.
That was Matthew 9 and what?
9, 20 through 22.
9, 20, and through 22.
About the woman with the issue of blood.
Make a note of that so that I can get back to it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
But I need y'all to understand that you just can't make no lie out of God's word. Now, I told y'all this before, and now he just told you. And this is, I want you to, that newscaster just told you of the dangers of walking through flood water naked.
Yes, sir.
There's all kind of viruses and stuff sitting up in there. Look what this said. Now you remember now, how long, even after President Obama, let me tell you something. When you read the preamble to the Constitution with a sane and sober mind, it tells you what the job of government is. Because there's no such thing as a nation that has no government. If you have a nation, you have a government. If you have a constitution, then you have to have a government to enforce that constitution. Is that right? Okay. It starts off, it says, we, the people of the United States. That alone, it didn't say we, some of the people. Did it? It tells you why the Constitution was being framed up. I may remember it by heart because in the elementary school, we learned the preamble to the Constitution. We, the people of the United States, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, promote domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare. What does it mean when you wish a person to fare well, or you say something is for the Department of Welfare? What does that mean? When you say I'm not faring so well, what do you mean by that? It means you're having trouble in your life, huh? Well, if the Constitution is to promote the general welfare, well then how are you promoting the general welfare if you don't believe that health care is a right of all of the citizens of America? Come in here, all you smart people. Give me a lesson on how that part of the Constitution says promote the general welfare don't mean the good health and security and all of the things that make for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. You say that we believe that all human beings have certain inalienable rights, the right to life. Well, if you got a right to life, then what about the right to preserve that life? If you say to live is a right, then health care is a right. But see, they're hypocrites. That's why they didn't want us to learn to read, didn't want us to learn it. See, we gave them English, they didn't give us English. Understand what I'm saying. I'm talking about we, the ruling ones of the black nation. The heads of the black nation. Bodies don't rule, heads rule. Now you notice, they haven't produced a scholar who can come in here and argue this with me. Their own words condemn them. How in the world do you have the right to life but not to health care? And if you're taking money from the American people, you don't stop taking it because they got sick. When they go to the store, you can't go to the store with a check from the doctor and say, don't tax this person, they sick. When you buy medicine, there's a tax. It's a tax on it, eh? I have to ask because I can't remember last time I bought no medicine. But I believe you have to pay tax on it, right? Well, if they're taxing the medicine, even when you're sick, you don't get out of taxes. Then how come they don't think that some of your tax money, you have a right to share in the use of it? And what better use to put it to? Instead of buying, promoting war and you know how much a tank costs? Ask them how much one of them new tanks they got cost. That thing costs millions of dollars, if not billions. They got money for that. But they ain't got no money if your wife gets sick and got cancer or whatnot. They've been doing cancer research for how long? They've been paid for cancer research for just going, right? They ain't solved it yet, huh? To hear them tell it. Do you suppose they want to solve it? Yeah, I know. Because that check will get cut off. They own the welfare. Everybody getting the government check on welfare. Is that right? The president gets a government check. The Congress gets the government check. The Senate gets the government check. The House of Representatives get the, excuse me for saying the Congress, that is the Senate and the House of Representatives. I don't want to sound foolish up here. But anyway, the police get a government check. The Army give you a government check. All these is government checks going out. From whose money? Taxpayers is paying for all that. Don't nobody say, we can't keep giving the Senate the taxpayer money. They vote themselves a raise, don't they? And they also got the best health care. Senator Kennedy, he said that in so many words, it's a shame. He said every American citizen should be able to get the same the quality of health care that everybody in Congress gets.
Yes, sir.
Why is it okay? This is what they need. This is what you need to be asking these crooks. Believe me, they're a bunch of crooks. Black people ain't got no monopoly on crooks that's robbing them. Every Sunday you get robbed in church. Every day you get robbed at the grocery store, and Congress sitting up there getting their checks and going on their vacations and getting all of these. They get an expense account, man, on top of their check. You know, because they got to fly, you know. They got to go, and so you got to pay for all that. Right? Now, look, I'm not against the Congress getting paid. I'm trying to show you how they don't believe they can talk about the God and all that all they want. They lying. They don't believe in God. Otherwise, they would love their neighbor as themselves. Ain't no way they'd have been after the Affordable Care Act became law. How come they didn't start working on it to tweak it and fix it and make sure that every American citizen could benefit from it? Instead, they poisoned the minds of already ignorant, sick people, making them think that somehow that the only people that was going to benefit from that is the niggers. They didn't realize they're the nigger. I'm just trying to show you. What you think skinheads and all them poor white people, them is the niggers that the Congress talking about. They just don't know that. Yes, sir. Because there's more poor white people in America than it is black people. They outnumber us. How many white people in America can afford the kind of costs that you have to pay when one of your loved ones got bone cancer or some kind of thing that requires transplants and all that kind of thing? Man, you ain't got that kind of money. And I know one thing. You go to the hospital and stay a night, and when they get through with you that night, you won't want to be in there if you see the bill. What the beds now go for? Just the bed in there. That ain't talking about your medicine and all that, and the person who's serving that medicine. For aspirins, what, $200 and something? Yeah. They're making a killing off of you. Yes, sir. But the Affordable Care Act would have put a stop to that. They'd have been making good money. But at least the American people, instead of all of their money going to overseas somewhere, to you know this country sent all kind of money overseas. Huh? You notice when you see people getting aid and stuff like that? I'm gonna tell you something. You just got a bunch of hypocrites leading a bunch of ignorant people. Ain't none of y'all even thought about the fact of how many of these people sitting up there showing you these poor black children. They starving. Starving Marvin. All these starving babies. And then they show you just $10 a month which is 25 cents a day or 30 cents a day, and you can adopt this child. We'll send you his picture, and you can see to him eating. How about this? Let's do this. Instead of paying for all of these babies $10 a month, Because if you got 1,000 babies that's hungry, and you got a lot more of them than that, according to y'all, that's $10,000 a month you paying just, and got to keep on paying it. Why don't we do this? Why don't, that's just a thought. I'm just brainstorming here. Why don't you get some of your agricultural teachers, one or two of them, and let's just send a couple of agricultural teachers over there and pay him to be over there for about 6 months. It didn't take that long. And teach them how to farm. Teach them how to grow their own food and cultivate their own food. And while we're at it, why not teach them carpentry and brick masonry and all of those things, and teach them how to operate heavy equipment and whatnot, and just teach them how to do these things for themselves. You ain't got to worry about them no more. I mean, I got that from y'all. You say, give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Teach him how to fish, he can feed himself for the rest of his life. Well, why you don't just teach them how to grow their own food? Because you the devil. You don't mean good. You just put on a show. Yeah. So this is why he was telling people, you notice he told you that you don't want to be walking around in flood waters with feces and all kind of bacteria, little microscopic stuff that would get into just go right through your pores. But too late now. You done did it. But in 2 Corinthians, okay, turn to it. 2 Corinthians, the 5th chapter. And look at this. You know, where's the seat of knowledge in your body? I didn't hear you. It's your what? Brain. Your brain. Is that right? So what do you suppose Allah was telling me to do when he said, Son of man, take the book and eat it? Study to show thyself approved. Unto who? God. Unto who? God. Did it say unto people? No, sir. Or unto God? Well, God is the messengers who brought the word. That's why the messenger said it like this. He said, whenever a messenger is chosen, these 12, they go into council to see if he's up to the job, to see if he's approved. Do you understand? And so I told you, go into the Holy Scriptures and find one prophet. Just find one prophet's words that disagree with me. And if you can't find none, then they must approve me. They must approve, huh? Okay? So I had to study so that I wouldn't wind up contradicting them. So my brain is the seat for all of the knowledge that the prophets brought. I told to eat the book up. So, look what it says here. The 10th verse. For we must all appear before the judgment seat of who? Christ. Of Christ. Of all of the messengers of God. All of you appearing before that one now. Before me. And before him shall be gathered how many? All nations. We must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ, that everyone may receive the things done where? Done in his what? in his body according to that which he hath done. What is this today? This is the day of requital. According to what you have done, you shall receive. God is not mocked. Whatsoever man soweth, what? That shall he also reap. That everyone may have done in his body according to that he hath done, whether it be what? Good or bad. So now they walking around there in all that contaminated water with their bare skin. Their trouble's just starting. You better get behind me. I have the authority to save you, and I have the authority to forgive every one of you. I also have the authority to punish you.
This is their natural habitat. Unfortunately, it's now infiltrating all these homes around us. So there are a lot of other things besides just microbes and bacteria you can't see that also could be lurking in these floodwaters. So it's still a huge concern on so many fronts across this region, Maria.
And Paul, I just want to take a second to get your perspective because it's very unique for a lot of reasons. You were in Corpus Christi, you were in Rockport, now you're in Houston. You've seen the scope of this storm, but you are also for a time a resident and you worked in Houston. What are your thoughts now that you've been there for a full week and have seen everything this storm has delivered?
Yeah, Maria, it's getting personal, you know, because I actually left Atlanta on my birthday last Tuesday. You know, actually, I share a birthday with my father, who was born and raised here in Texas. He passed away about 18 months ago. So I still have plenty of family here in Texas. I went to college, University of Texas, Austin. So I have classmates. I have friends. I used to work here. I have friends and colleagues and coworkers and people I know at other stations, TV stations here in the Houston area that I know. And many of them are dealing with this, either impacted directly or working on this, and just seeing what this is doing. I've never seen flooding like this in any scale anywhere I've been in my 20 plus years in this business covering the weather. So it definitely starts to pull at my heart now, knowing that people that I know and known for years are being impacted by this, and their lives change forever. Now, yeah, I was in Corpus and drove to Rockport and saw ground zero where the eyewall hit twice, where those communities devastated. Let's not forget the good folks here in Rockport and Port Aransas and Aransas County that are still devastated. I mean, people here have their homes, which might have water in it. People there don't have homes. So, I mean, we have been focusing a lot on this, but I know we're also not forgetting those people as well. So this is a disaster on different magnitudes in different parts of Texas. And then it's still going on east of Houston in the Golden Triangle area of Orange and Beaumont and Port Arthur. I know people who live there, and no doubt they're being impacted, if not directly in their homes, their businesses, their places of work. You know, when your job is flooded, you can't go to the job. Why should they pay you? You know, so then you can't get money to support your family, you know, and then you have kids in school.
Well, when we couldn't get money to support our children and wasn't no jobs, you heard them, they call us lazy. They create a situation and then they make mockery of us. Just like when we try to go in business, they don't level the playing field and give us the same wholesale prices that they give the foreigners when they come here, and they, you know, when white people and other people go in business, they give them the true wholesale price. When they give us a price, it's many times it's 3 times what the real wholesale price is. And then when they price us out of business, then they said, the niggers don't want to work. And then they laugh. So, I mean, they think that we don't, that is what? Trying to figure out how I know all of this. Well, let me tell you something else. From now on, whenever a storm or a tornado come through, you stop acting like you can predict how long it's going to be there or whatnot. You better start saying, if it pleases God, it will be going out this time. Or if it pleases God, it will do this or that. You better start acknowledging the presence of God in your midst. And it might help your people. I'm talking to the media people now. Maybe somebody that's on a media outlet, they may fear God. And then they can put on that teleprompter, let them read that. If it pleases God, this will be out of here. And when I stop acting like you in charge. Anyway, you notice, I didn't say that you have to say if it pleases Allah. I'll let you do that on your own. But Allah is God. Well, you can say if it pleases God. That's fine. But you better start acknowledging that you know that Almighty God, Allah, is in charge. So he's you know, tell you he ain't never seen nothing like this. Ain't nobody ever seen nothing like this. We don't need him to tell us he ain't never seen nothing like this. We know ain't nothing like this ever happened before. Don't we? Okay, let's go a little further.
Those evacuations, again, that area devastated by the eye wall twice on Friday night. Here west of Houston in the Cinco Ranch area, the water continues to rise. Our crew had to deal with this as well and got their incredible story coming up as our Harvey coverage live continues here from Texas.
Paul Goodlow is there live. And Paul, the neighborhood that you're in, we understand, under the evacuation orders, how has that gone? I know a lot of people, sometimes that decision is complicated, whether or not to leave or not.
It is complicated. If you don't have insurance, if you know, all your belongings are tied up into this house, you're trying to salvage everything you can, maybe the water's creeping in and you're busy putting stuff up. I understand that, but the important thing is people. We just that horrible update of the family of 6 washed off the road there. The important thing right now is lives, not so much property, but lives number one, and including the lives of your other family members, your pets, they're all considered loved ones here in your family. A big concern there. So people are still refusing to get out. Some are staying there. Some now need some emergency assistance because as the sun continues to shine here, temperatures will get back to the 90s this week. That means you don't have power, you have no air conditioning. It's going to be taxing on a lot of people's bodies in just a couple of days. But as this water has been rising, it's also not just here in the Cinco Ranch area of Texas. It's all across parts of West Texas because of the Addicks and Barker reservoirs overflowing and overfilling their boundaries, even impacting our crew, our photographer Chris, as well as my field producer Steve Dresner. And Steve, you're telling me going back to your hotel yesterday, you guys were confronted by A, flooded roads, and then B, a flooded hotel.
Well, as you know, we wrapped up here about 7 o'clock local time. Our cameraman and I, Chris, went back up I-10 eastbound, tried to get off the North Eldridge at the Omni. We got to the property to an empty hotel. The police said they're evacuating. Okay, you can quickly go and get your luggage and all. Chris helped me. But when I got in the lobby, we waist-high water, and the exotic fish were floating around. I've never seen like this, Paul. Exotic fish floating around the lobby. We got in, we got out. The most amazing thing, Paul, was when Chris and I were trying to leave. We had to go east to come west and got back up I-10. We saw people in motor coaches on the highway. We realized all those people were the evacuees out of our hotel. A lot of them didn't have transportation. So they were looking for refuge also.
So were they people who evacuated their homes to the hotel?
Correct. And they had no means of transportation. And finally, we saw at least 2 motor coaches pulling up. But this is right in the middle of the highway, not the HOV lanes, right in the middle of I-10 westbound. It was a sight to see.
Now, in terms of finding a place to stay for those people and for you and Chris, I mean, where'd you have to go?
It was kind of a tough situation. 7 o'clock at night,
Ending at 15 deaths from Harvey. Meanwhile, Harris County authorities.
And I'll tell you something else. They're not giving you the true facts about the deaths. They call themselves softening, not depressing the people so much. But, if you're not going to tell the people the truth, you ought to just remain silent. Don't even bring up the subject. I remember my teacher said, he said, if the truth would upset the peace and cause innocent people to be hurt, worse than a lie, he said, just remain silent. But don't get up and lie to people. What about the people who lost loved ones and may be in communication with each other? They know you lying, and that's disrespectful to them. Don't you know that the lives that are lost in something like this should be made known to the people? If for no other reason, out of respect. But I told you, they're devils. And even when he called himself doing something good, it's evil. Just listen.
Have located a van that they believe could be the missing family of 6, 2 grandparents and their 4 grandkids. They're now sending in dive team members, and of course, we will bring you the latest as it becomes available. We are also awaiting a live press conference from Texas Governor Greg Abbott. We will as well bring you that live when he then begins to speak. But now we turn to a rescue mission for perhaps the most vulnerable victims of Harvey, the animals, dogs and cats, frightened and confused, but not forgotten, as NBC's Joe Fryer shows us.
These days, Bayou Animal Services truly is a shelter, a sanctuary for dogs and cats upended by Harvey.
We got you something.
Animal Control Officer Nadine Perez is staying here around the clock to care for frightened pets, including litters of kittens.
I've already cried. I can't tell you how many times. We all need our 5-minute cry break, and then we get back up and get back to work.
Some are strays, others were dropped off by evacuees who will return when life is in order.
It's very high stress right now. Emotions are high.
Typically, this shelter would have no more than 30 dogs and 60 cats. Right now, they have more than 100 dogs and 100 cats. So they're using the public works garage as an overflow space. And more pets are on the way. Today, the Humane Society arrived in Dickinson to rescue animals still trapped in flooded neighborhoods. They have homes to visit and need to break in with permission from the here. 3 hours.
In them, I couldn't really detect that, but I do want to mention some of these areas. For example, Collins, Bay Springs, maybe eventually Forest, Laurel. you will be seeing this batch of thunderstorms move northward. And again, this is one of the situations where these storms could produce a brief spin up of a tornado with little or no warning. So even though there's no tornado warning right now, I want you to be prepared. There's a bunch of thunderstorms moving northward that indeed has that capability. So going to the other tornado warning in there, this is for Forest and Lamar counties for about another, 10 minutes or so, and then those storms will be moving out of the way. So again, this one's probably going to pass very close to, if not right over Hattiesburg. There's a chance of a brief tornado in there. I'm not seeing that right now, but we are overall in a tornado watch where the conditions are favorable for the development of tornadoes, and there is the tornado watch that is in effect until 6 o'clock tonight, local time, central time. So lots of active weather ongoing across that part of the world, and I'm going to go back and take a look at some of the rain here that is now on. The lob of moisture. It's not out of the question. Science is now clustering on this idea of more rain. But tropical cyclone only about that far by 7 o'clock and continuing on its northward movement from there, really still hanging on across central Louisiana overnight tonight. But by tomorrow morning, good news here on the forecast. It does look like that East Texas should be done with the rain for several days. They need the break. That would help the recovery efforts. But that brings us to areas farther north where Harvey will be likely moving on a path, something like that, and bringing areas in the Mid-South, like Memphis, Nashville, areas like Jackson, Tennessee, could see 5 to 8 inches of rain, and that does extend into parts of western Kentucky, including Louisville, which could get 3 to 5 inches of rain as Harvey moves northward. But by the time it moves up in this zone, say in about 48 hours or so, in about 2 days, it should be moving relatively quickly. So the rain won't last forever. It should last about 18 hours or so at most, and then it should be on out. But we're also going to have to now start turning our attention to early next week. The guidance is now clustering on this idea of more rain and potentially more significant rain coming into the western Gulf Coast over the very same areas that have gotten very hard hit, devastated by Harvey. Unfortunately, early next week, we may see more rain and potentially more heavy rain. And it's not out of the question that it could be accompanied by a tropical cyclone. Some of the guidance does say that. It's a little too early to know exactly how this blob of moisture will be moving northward. But certainly, heads up, next week, rainy times, I think, are coming back to Texas and Louisiana, and it may not be just a little bit of rain at all. If that weren't enough, tropical story doesn't end there, because we've got a tropical storm out there in the eastern Atlantic. It is now Tropical Storm Irma. 11 o'clock advisory from the Hurricane Center brings it more or less a 50-mile-per-hour mid-range tropical storm. You can see on the satellite pictures. Gosh, it looks pretty healthy. It's got some of the signs there of a fairly robust tropical system with a very well-defined swirl inside of that. And guess what? Over the next 5 days, the models are very clear on this idea. High confidence in it moving westward. And early next week, being out here in the central toward the western Atlantic, Hurricane Center's official forecast has it at 90 miles per hour. So we may be dealing with a decent hurricane, significant hurricane in the western Atlantic early next week. It is not out of the question. So our friends across parts of the Caribbean, across the Bahamas, and yes, even the southeast United States, pay very close attention to the progress of Irma, because the models continue to move it westward beyond that time frame, Maria. It is not out of the question to have a significant hurricane in that zone next week. Giving you a heads up. Long way out. Back to you, Maria.
And this is about as much heads up that you want, right? You want to think about these things now, prepare now while it's still good weather. So we'll keep an eye on that for sure. Of course, we bring it back to Harvey, still a tropical storm and still bringing heavy rainfall to Beaumont and Port Arthur. You're looking live right now at Evacuation Center in Houston, the NRG Center, just one of many shelters set up right now with holding thousands of families. We are also waiting 2 press conferences, one an update from the Texas Governor, Greg Abbott. boat that you won from the professional bull riding circuit and decided to put it to good use.
Yes, ma'am.
When did you decide to do this? What about this storm, this community made you come out and want to help?
Well, I've actually got family here, and I was in Katrina and Rita for 11 months as well, and we have another friend that's here in a boat, and we all got together and wanted to come down here and help out, and you got a boat and you got the means of doing it, so why not, come help out and get it done?
Now, I'm going to tell you something. If the people had been more concerned about brotherhood and helping one another with health care and all of that kind of thing, these things wouldn't even be happening to America. But you're so filled with racism and hatred that we just done got sick of you. For just a brief minute, it looked like that era, that history of America, people had learned something from it and was ready to do better. And they elected a black man for president. Who would have thought it? And for how many years did these people with drum major Donald Trump march around the country disrespecting President Obama? How many years? Until finally they showed that they just ain't gonna change. Ain't that something? Well, Hurricane Harvey and Irma soon to be, and many, many more is the answer to you. Then you want to get on there and show that you care about dogs and all that kind of stuff. You care more about dogs than you do people. So, as you can see, the land is being taken by the sea. Since you dishonor your father and your mother, your days upon the land which the Lord thy God gave you are being shortened. You thought that you could, that this is just here, and you know that it'll be here, and it's just nature. No. The earth has a Lord. Otherwise, it's alive. It said, he taketh the kingdom from whom he please and give it to whom he please. Haven't they showed you that? You notice they just not kind of letting this kind of stuff out. That is, they done found statues and building cities up under the ocean. I ain't gonna get into that with you right now, because there's a whole lot of things that you don't know about the earth that's about to be shown to you, and what can be done with it. You know, as the book says, every valley shall be exalted and every mountain and hill shall be made low. You just don't know, boy. You ain't in charge of nothing here. Anyway, let me let you see some more.
I broke my arm Saturday night, and I was supposed to be another boat riding in Archdale, North Carolina this weekend. But since this happened, and I had the boat, I figured since I was provided a boat, and I wasn't doing anything, I figured I'd come help.
Better cause it. Guys,
we're coming down.
Awesome work. Thank you so much for all you've done. I know you guys want to get going because you've got more rescues to do. Be safe out there.
Load it up, so we're ready to go now.
Safe travels. Wonderful to meet you. Thank you again. These are just some of the amazing members of the community, members of the country who are giving up their time using resources that they have to help out. And it's really been amazing to see. I think we're going to send it back into the studio now.
All right, Alex, thank you very much. We want to take a look at what else is going on in the tropics. We've been so consumed with Harvey, but we have a new tropical storm that is strengthening already, and it's all the way on the other side of Africa. Here it is, the tropical storm Irma. We're going to be talking about this in detail here for the next week at least. 60-mile-an-hour winds this afternoon, moving to the west, due west at 15. And there you see, there's the Cabo Verde Islands there off of Africa. This is a long way away, but it is a very well-developed, good-sized system, although the strong winds are only very close to the center. But this is a large circulation package, so this is going to be a significant hurricane, we believe, out over the Atlantic. There is the forecast from the National Hurricane Center. Notice they take it up to 105 miles per hour by the weekend and then kind of keep it there because the models are indicating that some dry air is going to filter in, some slightly less favorable atmospheric conditions, but that's not 100%, and that certainly looks scary for the Lesser Antilles, and we'll just see how this evolves, obviously. Obviously, this would be early next week, like Tuesday of next week, before it would get there, but certainly all attention to the Lesser Antilles. The models all pretty much agree that that's what it's going to do here for the next 5 days. Here's looking at two of them in detail. Here's the GFS model right there, and the European model is a little faster right there. So you can see that at 5 days out, we have an area there of possibilities, although they seem to be on the same line at that point. Now, looking farther, and so here's what's going to happen, is we have high pressure here to the north that's steering it, and we also have this kind of dip in the jet stream, this front coming along here, that how's that all going to come into play? Well, looking ahead to late next week, we hear there's a big dip coming in the jet stream. How big is that dip, and where exactly is Irma at that time? Has it gone through the islands and it's in the Caribbean, or has it moved to the north of the islands where it's more likely to get caught by that dip? Both very big questions, and we're going to be asking a lot of them here over the next several days. All right.
I know it's been sunny out, but you got to stay out of this water. I can assure you that it is dirty water. So, get out of your home, but don't let the kids go explore in the floodwaters or play. Unfortunately, we've seen countless scenes of people being rescued from their homes, from their apartments, with what very little they have, they were able to grab as that water began to rise. Here again, water overtopping the reservoir, but downstream, down from the reservoir where they've been releasing water, we've seen flooding as a result of that. Just too much water for the systems throughout the Houston metro area to handle. And we are dealing with hundreds of people here in this area that have been rescued since the weekend, about 100 likely today. And now we're seeing the efforts turn into pet rescues and even animal rescue, wild animals. We just talked to these folks who have been out rescuing people all day and then found 2 deer in need of help and helped them as well. I want to show you some of the videos that we've been seeing. You can see a video on your screen of folks moving through the floodwaters in another part of Houston. Water is slowly beginning to recede for some, but in some areas today, the water levels did go up. So please listen to those emergency officials. If they are telling you need to get out, get out. We heard from some folks today that said they wanted to take a woman out, but then she waited until they said, all right, it's either the National Guard or you come with us via this canoe. I've got jet skis here in front of me, so people are using what they have and what they can offer to help folks. And Brian Norcross, our senior hurricane specialist, the rain continues in communities to the east of us. We're talking about the Texas-Louisiana state line, Beaumont, Altamont, Port Arthur, Lake Charles, more issues over that way.
Yeah, it's been a terrible day in Port Arthur there in what's called the Golden Triangle in southeast Texas. Thankfully, the rain there has stopped. It's going to be leaving that part of the country and moving north. And it is going to be significant. As a matter of fact, there is really significant rain in Louisiana right now. I'll show you that on the radar in a second. Here is the latest from the National Hurricane Center on Tropical Storm Harvey. 40-mile-an-hour winds is the estimate. They're estimating that the wind coming in off of the Gulf of Mexico here. But in these thunderstorms, the center is also very gusty winds there, moving to the north-northeast. So it's kind of going to move up the Mississippi River Valley on this path. Here is the path forecast from the Hurricane Center. You notice the winds wind down 35, 30, 30, and then 25 is just a remnant low. So it'll be just like a strong low pressure system coming through that's tapping the Gulf moisture. So this is a big, big rainmaker all the way up that path. And even as the moisture is being pulled up outside the path, there can be significant rain there as well. Here's what I was mentioning before. Look at the circulation. You see it in here, southwest of Alexandria. And look up in there, very intense rainfall rates. Dr. Forbes analyzed that.
I wanted to impress upon you that that you just can't make messengers of God liars. Now, you had a messenger of God with you for 43 years that warned you that I would be coming to you right after him. He told everybody that the one coming after him, he said, ain't nobody coming behind me but God. I better tell you that. He, the one, prepared the way for me. He laid the foundation upon which I stand. I'm going to prove it and reprove it. But we ain't got time tonight. What was that? Matthew 9 and 22 and 23?
22.
Say what?
20 through 22.
20 through 22. It says, whoso, Matthew 9, excuse me. It says, and behold, a woman which was diseased with an issue of blood 12 years came behind him and touched the hem of his garment. For she had said within herself, if I may but touch his garment, I shall be whole. But Jesus turned him about, and when he saw her, he said, daughter, be of good comfort. Thy faith hath made thee whole. And the woman was made whole from that hour. Yes, faith is a very powerful thing. It's just like doctors use that today with placebos. You know, when they don't find nothing wrong with the person, but it's in their mind, the doctor will tell them, you know, he will prescribe something for them. And sometimes it's nothing but sugar pills, or what they call, what's that, milk? In other words, it ain't nothing. But their mind tells them that it's okay, and that's it. That's why Jesus said, your faith has made you whole. Now, the issue that she had, the issue of blood, you know, sometimes, even today, some women, they bleed off and on more than once a month, and they have that problem. That's an issue for them. Sometime when a woman have had a what you call miscarriage, and all of the roots of that aborted fetus, that aborted embryo or whatnot, don't come out, then it just a continuous bleeding will go on until pretty soon they have to go into the what do they call it that the doctor does, a DNC. What is the DNC, the initials for? Well, and I know they call it a DNC, and to scrape the wall of the uterus, which is a dangerous process if you don't know what you're doing, because it can scar and it can actually do damage. But he goes in there and he scrapes the wall to stop the body from continuing to bleed, trying to push it out. And so if she had continuous bleeding for over the past 12 years, you know, obviously it was off and on, but it never stopped. And she convinced herself that if she could just touch the hem of his garment, and, you know, and from that moment on, in one place, Jesus was walking. And this same story says that throngs of people was touching him, and he said, "Who touched me?" And the disciples said, "What do you mean? Who touched you? All these people around you." But he felt virtue. He felt something leave him. You know how it wasn't just the physical touch. He connected to that person mentally. And it was that same woman. They just told the story different. But faith has, when you trust in God, when you trust in God's messenger, you are actually trusting in God. And once you have that kind of confidence, your brain, which controls everything that happens in your body, it controls that. You see, and she was healed. But he told her, "Your faith have made you whole." Do you understand? So it's just like you all who trust in me. Those of you who trust me, it's just like, you know, the question was framed that the sister said, "Well, whatever, don't ever come to me with the words as though you are testing me, because you ask me those kind of questions, then maybe Allah won't let me answer you, because you're not supposed to try to test me." The book says, "Thou shalt not tempt or test the Lord thy God." Do you understand? Because test me for what? You the one that's in wickedness, and you don't have no guidance to give nobody. So why come in here trying to, as those saying go, you don't look a gift horse in the mouth? If you want to test me, the thing you do is go online to our website and see everything that I have been doing for our people, and then show me somebody else that's doing for our people equal to me. And when you can't find nobody else, then be satisfied that you have someone that's trying to do something for you, and accept it. Now, when I teach you something wrong, then worry about it. But as long as I'm giving you the word of God, and you notice you didn't go to the 12th grade, you didn't go to college, you didn't go to none of those schools of this world and think that you needed to tell the teacher what to teach on. Now, did you? You see, the only thing that story is in there for is to reassure you that faith can save you. As the book says, it's impossible to please God without faith. What is faith? You must trust him. But the minute you stop trusting, the minute God determined that you don't trust him, he don't want to be bothered with you. And that's true. If you don't trust me, just go. I'm not here to beg you. I'm not here to prove nothing to you. Do you understand? I don't have to prove anything to you. You're the one that's wicked. You're the one that don't know how to be righteous. Now I'm here to teach you the understanding of righteousness. You ain't got no test to give me. Do you understand? Okay. Now, I just got the answer to that DNC, and the answer to it is, it stands for dilation and curettage. I'll tell you just a moment. That's the one thing about these cell phones that really can help you. Let me see here.
Great. Curettage.
See? Curettage. So, have you ever thought about when you don't know how to pronounce a word to spell it and your phone tell you how to pronounce it? So, see, I know how to use these things. Y'all don't pay no attention. Anyway, so it's the proper pronunciation. It's dilation and curettage. And that's DNC. And you notice they speak in a language that you wouldn't understand even if they told you what it meant. But what it actually is that the doctor takes a little deal up inside the woman and scrapes the wall of her uterus to remove that excess roots of that fetus that was in there. If it does not, if the body's not able to throw it off during, by the letting of blood, sometimes in order to stop the bleeding, the doctor has to go up in there and do something. And it's called a DNC. So, but I want you to hear the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Just a few minutes, we're going to still let you go at 11.
Black people who have their lost in the wilderness. Reading to you, I'm Elijah Muhammad, a preacher of freedom, justice, and equality to you, my poor black people who have their lost in the wilderness of North America for the last 400 or more years. You, my dear beloved brothers and sisters that is listening to my voice on this album, I would that you pay good attention to it. I will such it is the judgment. Judgment has been taught, and we have been warned that it is a day coming that we all will be judged. And whosoever Allah have mercy upon, that person have a great reward bestowed upon him. Because we live in a world guided by the open enemy, the devil himself. Therefore, being lost from our own people, wherein there was no one to teach us, no one to help us. all teachers was prevented from teaching us of very pitiable condition our fathers fell in when you captured by our enemies, the open devil in our native land. Through this defeat, here we are today, on trial before the God who will judge us all. Who will this God be? The Son of Man, both Bible and Holy Quran declares. He will be a man, a son from a man, Son of Man. Not a formless spirit that the scientists, scholars of religion have given this name. So that judge on that day, the day of judgment in which we now live, will be a man. For only a man can judge rightly between man and man, because their nature is alike. Anything other than a man cannot judge our affairs, nor guide us in the right way that we will be successful. It's got to be a man. Then, when is the day of resurrection? This is the day of resurrection. You're living in it. When is the doom coming? When will be it taken place? Don't hurry for that day, because you're living in it now. The days of the judgment of God upon the wicked, and the correction and separating the righteous from the wicked. And according to many of the scholars on this subject, would be something like near 20 years. That time.
Well, that's approximately how long it took me to separate the righteous from the wicked. The righteous is the prophets and messengers of God. The wicked is the ones that their knowledge was delivered into the hands of. I had to first mature. I had to be made complete, and so that took us up to about from 1950 to 1990, and that's 40 years. And then from 1990 to 2010, you notice people was trying to argue with me all the way up to there. Now, I done took the book, took the righteous from the wicked. I separated them. Took about 20 years. Now you can't produce an argument. You can't even produce the beginning of an argument for me with the scriptures. I done shut all of your mouth. Allah sent me with the guidance and the true religion, that I may make it overcome the religions, all of them. If I have to overcome them, then you start off arguing with me. And if I overcome it, then pretty soon I shut your mouth. I done shut your mouth. Oh, no, nobody come in here and call themselves teaching me scripture. or contradicting me in Scripture. You ain't got no contradiction for me. So now, the book says hereafter, see, because you've been seeing the angels of God, what you thought was the angels of God, and in your view, Satan, the beast, was making light, fire come down from heaven. In your view. That's in the 13th chapter of Revelation. It says that and in the 11th verse, it says, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. This was talking about his, you remember when the founding fathers first got over here, they was wearing them white wigs like the people in England. And remember that they was trying to make themselves fit into the parable that his hair was white like lamb's wool. You understand? He had the look of he had 2 horns like a lamb, and they been had the Bible and the Holy Quran. They've been knowing about these books. Huh? But he spake as a dragon. He spoke lies about what the book meant. And so he had horns like a lamb, but he spake as a dragon. And he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him. Just like they had the British had Parliament. Who is that with that phone on mute? What is it? Brother, whose phone is that on mute? Okay. And it says that you notice America had a Continental Congress, and the British had a Parliament, and they had they adopted a lot of the things of the British Parliament. They exercised all of the power of the first beast. Is that the station? Okay, well then I will hang the station up. I think it'll be off the air. So, just a moment. Okay. Now, and so the book says, and he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. You'll notice England is the one that set up this over here. They sent the first people over here to this part when Columbus went on his expedition and whatnot. It was for the Queen of England. Is that right? Isabella, I think that was Elizabeth. Was it Elizabeth or Isabella? Elizabeth. Okay. And so he founded it, and then they started sent people over here. They call them pilgrims. Huh? And the pilgrims came here and came in peace and murdered the inhabitants there. Huh? And then began to exercise all of what they knew from England. They came over here and set up a baby London government here. Do you understand? Then it says, and he caused it all, small and great. He says, and he causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast. Now remember, Christianity had crusades at one time, and they, who is that? Beg your pardon? Oh, and they had the crusades, and they went forth conquering. What was his name that was successful? And they talk about him a lot. And sir,
Alexander.
not Alexander. No, he was a conqueror too. But I'm talking about the Christian champion that went out and he overcame those Orthodox Islamic people. Constantine? Yes, I think it was Constantine. And so then it says, and he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. Well, see, that's what, you know how people say, well, in my view, he's right. Well, in the sight of men, he made fire come down from heaven. In your view, you thought the white man was teaching you good religion and stuff. In your view, he was. But that was just in the sight of men. Then it says, and he deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast. Now, in the sight of the beast is the technology that he was given. He has used television and radio and his all of these miracles that he was able to do. It is a miracle that you can take this. Do you see this remote here? What is this other than something miraculous that you can point it at a box and you see pictures come up in a box? We call it television, but those are miracles. What? You don't see that as a miracle? Yeah. And there's a whole lot of other things he do that's miraculous. Look at that tile on that floor there. That ceramic tile. It's miraculous what he can do with clay. Isn't it? Okay. And what did he say to Jesus? All this power was given unto me. All this knowledge. Knowledge is power. And what do? We humble ourselves to him, and we have been worshiping him. Worshiping him. Every time we opened our mouth, whose words was coming out? White people. You see? So that is what, so the messenger, he told you that I'm here now to judge these people. And so that's what I'm doing. But I have to make you know that I know what I'm talking about. So.
Is the doom coming? When will be taken place? Don't hurry for that day, because you're living in it now. The days of the judgment of God upon you.
It's late, and I'm going to put a pin in it right there. But I'm here to judge the world. I have already told you that I would not hold anything that you did before I spoke to you against you. I told you that I'm going to hold you accountable for how you acted after I spoke to you. Now, I'm living up to what I said. I pity you who ain't got sense enough to humble yourself and let me save you from your wrongdoing. You have not been taught to live life like a human being. You have been taught capitalism. That is the law of the jungle. That's not the way human beings should live. And even those who claim to believe in communism have lied to the people. Because by the principles of communism, it means that everyone shares in everything, wealth and everything. But that's not what they've been practicing. They've just been calling it that. And so, the true name of it is Islam, not communism. You see, but he couldn't tell you that, but even that, they try to make it look like Islam is communism. But Islam is not communism. Islam is brotherhood. You see. You notice they call each other comrades, but they're not comrades. They're not brothers. They ain't about nothing. Bunch of murderers and thieves. So, don't worry. They ain't gonna say nothing to me, because now I'm taking my power to myself. And I have power. Yeah. Allah has given it to me because I'm not going to abuse it. I'm not a bully. I'm not here to try to bully anybody, but you through bullying us. I want you to know that. You through bullying us. Now, if you start it, I'm going to finish it. So, I got plenty backup. Is the whole planet backing me up. You know that Africa is like it's alive, sending hurricanes over here. So and it is alive. That which is dead cannot sustain that which is alive. It takes the living to sustain the living. But that's what you didn't understand. Everything is alive. You just don't know it. But you about to find it out. So, I hope that you will show me that you're paying attention. And it's just a minor thing, but if you want things to start simmering down, you can prove it by saying, if it pleases God, this thing will do this, this thing will do that. And maybe it will please God, and it will do that. Do you understand? Okay. But if you're going to be arrogant, well, Pharaoh was arrogant until the water started filling up his lungs, and then he said, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Yeah. So we're not worrying about you, and don't you let me hear you let it fly out your mouth no more, calling somebody an Islamic terrorist. Anytime somebody practicing terrorism, that's not Islam. Did you hear what I said? You can't show me nowhere in the Holy Scriptures where it says, go terrorize people. Goodness and mercy follow me, not terrorism. Now, just like you don't call somebody who went to church, I don't care how long he been going to church. When he was murdering them people, you didn't call him a Christian terrorist. You hypocrites. So I don't want to hear that term Islamic terrorist no more. I remember this old crazy man didn't want to call Muhammad Ali by his name. What was that boy's name? Ernie Terrell. Now, why wouldn't he want to call the man by his name? He whooped his behind until he did call him by his name. I said, I don't want to hear you use that term no more. Islamic terrorists. Terrorism has nothing to do with Islam. Now, don't say I didn't warn you. Now, you go on and get big and bad and bold and go on and say it again. You don't, if you got to lie on me to get people to dislike me, you better stop. You better shut your mouth. Now, I will answer. I won't deny anything that you say about me that's true. If you say that I call Christianity a lie, I will stand here and say, yes, I sure did. If you say I call the white man the devil, I will stand here and say, I sure do. But if you say that Islam is a terrorist religion, or there's a such thing as a Muslim terrorist. That's a lie. I don't know of any Muslim that's not righteous. If you say you're a Muslim, that means you are one who submits to do the will of God. And it has never been God's will that we go around murdering each other. Thou shalt not kill. Now, what you did before you understood that, we can forgive. That's why Allah told me to speak to you. If I had not come and spoken unto them, they had not had the knowledge of sin. But now they have no cloak. They have both seen and hated me and my Father, me and the truth. Remember, whenever a man is talking, or a woman, the flesh ain't talking. This microphone ain't talking. I'm doing the speaking and using the microphone to speak through. The mind that's in me is using this vessel to talk to you. My Father is the truth. And the truth is God. So, they have both seen and hated me and my Father. Okay. So I'm going to let you go. We got visitors here. My visitors made it safely, which also are my family. Like I said, they better be glad that I was having family coming in. Otherwise, it'd been a whole different thing. But anyway, I'm going to let you go now. And may Allah bless us all and keep us safe and in our right minds. May Allah's Salam Alaikum.
This session is no longer.